Hello everyone, it's Benny, and welcome to yet another live stream of my Ludum Dare game engine, codenamed the Dare Engine. And today we're going to continue work on the rendering portion, like you guys voted on. Whoops, sorry about that. But before we do that, I'd like to share a few things, because, yeah, as before, I couldn't quite stream when I wanted to, so I ended up doing a couple of things off screen. Most notably, in render context, I went ahead and went through and did a little bit of optimization with all the transparency functions, just because it was bothering me that I wasn't quite using a particularly great way of doing things. They're not perfectly optimized yet. In fact, I'm going to have to de-optimize them later in this video to do something else. But they work very, very well. You can get like 500 alpha blended sprites on screen at once. It is ridiculous. But anyways, I've also done a little bit of playing around and tuning with our quad tree class to try and make it really, really work as an acceleration structure. And my word, are you guys in for a treat? So, you've seen game engines work pretty well with lots of things on screen, right? You know, lots of things in the world, simulating, running around, doing stuff. Let's have 2 million entities in our game at once, all doing whatever they're doing. All independent, all operating, all need to be considered for updates, all need to be considered for rendering. Think it'll work? Well, let's see how horribly our engine does. Even the best optimization isn't going to work well with 2 million things on screen at once. Yeah, it's going to take a while to load. 2 million is a lot of objects. But look at that. It loads them, it runs, and look, it's running at 148, almost 150 frames per second. And this is while I'm running a live stream recorder. That's insane! 2 million objects being updated and rendered all at once. That's incredible. That is the power of using a good spatial acceleration structure. And you know, it's moments like this where I kind of wonder if I should have started working on spatial acceleration structures a little bit sooner in the 3D game engine series and whatnot. Because my word, this is awesome. In my humble opinion, at least. But then again, I'm a huge nerd. What's awesome to me is just a bunch of nonsense to other people. But oh well. But yeah, that's 2 million things on screen at once. I'm going to turn this down to something slightly less ridiculous. It's like 20,000 or something. And I'm turn the range down a little bit. Something like 10. This might also be ridiculous, but we'll find out. Oh dear. Okay, that might be a little bit ridiculous. So let's turn this down a bit, or expand the range a bit to something like, I don't know, 30. Maybe 50. This might be too much. Just playing around now. I'm about to start working on rendering again. Alright, that's good enough. So only 20,000 now. And the big reason for that is just so I don't have to wait 10 seconds every time I want to restart it. So yeah. Anyways, now with that, let's work on rendering. I did a little bit of... sorry about that, Alright, so I just need to adjust my setup a little bit. But anyways, I'm going to pull you down because we have some gimping to do. And, well, yeah, everyone loves a little bit of... Well, I guess some other people call it photoshopping, but Basically, I've made a list of all the different things that our rendering engine is either going to need or is going to be really nice to have. Drawing bitmaps. This is basically fundamental, just downright fundamental to any 2D rendering engine. I mean, there's very, very... Okay, I mean, there are some, like you could probably make asteroids with no sprites or bitmaps, but it really limits you if you don't have any form of bitmaps or images you can draw on your engine. So this, downright fundamental. And I'm happy to say we have it. So let me just hold on. Sorry, I probably should have prepared a little bit more before this, but oh well. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, I think I can safely put a little new thing here called render checks. And check. We have draw bitmaps. We can draw bitmaps. Now, transparency. This is also fundamental. Without this, you'll never get rid of borders around sprites or anything. So, yeah, you need at least some form of transparency. And I'm happy to say, whoops, sorry, did not mean to do that. I can put a check mark next to this. We have transparency. Really, that leaves everything else on this list. We've done bitmaps, we've done transparency, but to have a really good rendering engine, we need a few more things, like transparency sorting. And actually, in fact, I'm going to try and show you why this is so necessary. I can even show it to you without transparency. So let me turn this back down to something like 20 or something a little bit more cramped. And build and run. Yeah, at first it looks okay. It looks like there's just a bunch of different... Okay, maybe the bricks isn't the best texture to show this off. I'm going to change back to the... I know this is just an example, but I want to show it, dagnabbit. It's still a little hard to see, but the point is there's still a few places where it looks a little bit awkward like this. It looks almost like it's taking different parts of the texture. Or maybe I really should turn transparency on for this. Okay, fine. I'll go all the way and show you proper example. Full transparency there. Now I'm going to show you why this is so important. As you see, there's transparency, but I mean, there's no particular order to it. This thing's just moving above, below, between, basically whatever. So we need some form of rendering layers. Some way we can say, okay, render this in front of this, in front of this, in front of this, etc., etc. And that's really, yeah, all there is to it. That's transparency sorting. Went through a lot of trouble to show that example. Sorry, probably went through a little bit too much, but it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. Now I'll just change this back really quick. I'm just using Google Plus Hangouts on Air for streaming. Just nothing fancy, just what Google provides. Anyways, so that is still on the to-do list. We need transparency sorting so that we can have render layers and such. Because I mean, even outside of transparency, that's useful. Say, for instance, always render the player in front of the rest of the world and such like that. Fonts and text. I mean, come on. How could you make a decent 2D game without having a main menu or text or just anything like that? So that's pretty important. Sampling. Now this is something I think I can show off really, really quickly and easily. I really hope this doesn't just downright fail. Okay, maybe I should change back to the bricks for this. Dagnabbit. Okay. There. Well, as you can see, the brick, I mean, look, you can tell it's the brick texture. It just looks really grainy and pixelated, and that's because we're using nearest filtering. And right now, that's the only filtering the engine supports. It'd be kind of nice if we supported other filtering modes, like at least linear filtering. Maybe something like... Maybe I can implement mip mapping and trilinear stuff later, but yeah, we're going to need... Or, excuse me. Sorry about that. There. But yeah, we're going to need some... We don't need it, really, but it'd be very nice to have more forms of sampling. Aspect correctness. I'm not going to show this again because, my word, I've wasted enough time trying to show this stuff off. But as you see, the squares we have on screen are really more of rectangles. And that's because we're not correcting for the aspect ratio. So we're going to need to do that. Fortunately, our system makes this incredibly easy. But yeah, we still need to do it. Let's see what else. Shaders. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's very, very nice to have programmable shading. You can easily implement advanced lighting effects or other advanced rendering and blending. And you can do a whole slew of really awesome things with shaders. So it's not essential, but it would be really nice to have. And yes, Elemento, it is on GitHub. You can find the link in the description. And finally, camera. Just so we have some way to specify, okay, view this part of the 3D world, or 2D world. We're not doing 3D yet. But yeah, just some way to specify, view this part of the 2D world, this part of the 2D world, this part of the 2D world, etc., etc. Okay, that's the rendering to-do list. I also, in case you're curious, I've started working on a physics to-do list, but don't have that much on there yet, and because, well, I'm focusing on rendering right now, just like you guys voted for. But don't worry, physics is coming. And it's actually convenient. That's the one time I've actually wanted an error message. Anyways, one moment. Much better. Well, the first thing I think I'm going to do today, now that I've shared with you my master plan of evilness, I think I'm going to do aspect correction. So actually, I'm going to start by changing bitmap. I'm just going to add a nice sort of convenience function to this. Public float get aspect. Very, very simple. It's going to return aspect is width over height, right? I don't know. I'm paranoid because I've made lots of mistakes recently, so yeah, I'm pretty sure aspect is width over height. Anyways, so really, accounting for aspect is incredibly easy. At least I think it'll be. What I'm pretty sure I have to do is just take xstart of float aspect equals get aspect, then say xstart divided by aspect, and ystart divided by, xend, there we go, divided equals aspect. I think that will just scale everything in a bit, and that should work. I think. I could be totally wrong about this, but we're about to find out right now. Oh, look at that, folks. We have corrected for the aspect ratio. Now squares actually look square, and I should be able to set this thing to really just about any resolution I care about, and it should render. That said, however, actually, there's a slight issue that I'm pretty sure I'll... Oh wait, no I won't. Never mind. But as you see, there's not really anything showing on the side, so we're going to need to change game a bit because of this. I'm going to need... Yeah, when I'm querying the range of renderable entities, yeah, now it needs to account for aspect. That's the only trick to this. So target, get aspect. Types of games? Hopefully anything I could possibly want. The thing is, I don't really know. Well, like I said, I'm making this for Ludum Dare, and I really don't know what kind of game I'm going to end up making for the next Ludum Dare. I mean, if I did, then it wouldn't really be much of a fair competition, would it? So I'm trying to make this as general as possible so I can very quickly and easily make whatever type of game I feel is necessary for the competition. But anyways, now I'm just going to query range from negative aspect x, negative 1 on y, to positive aspect on x. There. Hopefully that'll cover that issue. And the return of the random white border for no apparent reason. Well, the thing is, the y-axis doesn't need to be corrected. What I'm really doing is I'm just picking an axis and using it as reference. In this case, I picked the y-axis. You could take the y-axis and scale it down to match the x-axis if you want. It's just, well, I've chosen to do it the other way around. But yeah. Anyways, with all this out of the way, what I should be able to do now is everything should be resolution independent. So I should be able to change the resolution to say something like 1280, whoops, not 2 displays, just 1 display, 720p or something like that. And yeah, look at that. And everything just works. It just scales beautifully. And now things look better. Everything fits on screen, so great. I think I can safely say the rendering engine is resolution independent, which is great. That's exactly what I want. That's going to make development a lot easier. I can just change the resolution whenever I want, and everything just works. Well, it's wonderful. That clears that up. Wow, that was a lot easier than I expected, really. But anyways, I'm gonna go down, because I have another thing to check off on this magical. No, yeah, don't put on the dots, but I'm just gonna check off aspect correctness. We are correcting for aspect ratio. So there's really only 5 things left, and then we're pretty much done with rendering. Period. We'll have just about all the rendering functionality we'll ever need in a, what's it called? 2D game engine. Hang on. I remember you told me this. It's Zan-Day-In, right? Right. No, it will not, believe it or not. Unless I screwed something up, which is entirely possible. But in theory, this should work. Because what I can do is I can reverse it like this, so 600 by 800. And then it should scale things in on X rather than, or scale things out on X rather than in. So, yeah. As you see, it's still, everything's still properly adjusted. And the thing is, it's the exact same thing we're doing in the 3D game engine, except, well, the 3D game engine does it in the perspective matrix, it does it in 3D. This is just doing it in 2D. So there you go. Whoop. No. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to change it back to 800 by 600 because I like working with 800 by 600 for some reason. Okay, good. Just making sure I didn't somehow break anything by switching the resolutions around. All right. Now I need to pick something else to do. I could do transparency. I don't want to do fonts just yet. And I don't want to do shaders just yet. I could do the camera. That's actually going to be pretty easy. Whoops, sorry about that. I could do sampling. That's also going to not be that hard. So really just transparency, sampling, or camera. I think I'm going to do the camera first. And hello, Olaf. Welcome to the stream. So anyways, I'm looking for something. Hang on. All right, I'm correcting for a camera position. Now there's a lot of ways you could do this. What I think I'm going to do for now is just have the camera position inside the render context, and this way everything's drawn relative to the camera, because it makes sense to me that, well, the camera is part of was part of the render context, because the camera is specifying what area are we rendering from or to. Yeah, it has some float called mCameraX and float mCamY, and I'm going to have to put this private modifier because I completely forgot about that for some reason. Yeah. I'm going to start out with that equal to 0 and 0. After this, I'm just going to in-draw image. I think that's the only place I have to do it. I'm just going to say xstart plus equals mCameraX. I think it'll still work after aspect correction. Won't it? Well, we're about to find out anyway, so yeah. xn plus mCameraX, and pretty much the exact same thing for y and y-end and whatnot. Except that's going to be y, and that's going to be y-start. I'm afraid I don't have the luxury of having dual monitors to test it with. Even if I did, I don't have the desk space for it, so sorry, I really haven't. Oh, and I almost forgot. The function, public void set camera position. Float x, float y. Yeah, I'm just going to have x, y position for the camera right now. There's no need to take into account rotation and such like we do in 3D, because, well, I guess you could. We don't see why not. But yeah. Right now I'm creating cameras. Let's test it out. Let's go to game. Whoop. Yeah. I'm just going to have private float cam. Yeah, you know, I'm just going to make it very, very quick and dirty, very temporary. In fact, I'm not going to make this test component 2 anymore. I'm just going to make it test component test. Just to make sure I have a totally static scene. Okay. So any movement I do should be from the camera. All right. So just float camx. Very temporary stuff, like I said. Float cam y. And yeah, have float speed. I'm going to say just equals delta for now. And cam x plus equals delta. Cam y plus equals delta. I think it should actually, but I'm going to see what this does first. You know, technically, actually, it shouldn't matter because, well, you can have the sign in either way. It just depends on how you specify what the camera should be like. But yeah, in the way I'm going for, I think it should be minus equals. That's a good catch. Thanks for that. Maybe eventually, but whoops, not right now. No Z rotation. Anyways, and this is going to be interesting because I'm probably going to have to adjust the query range for that. But oh, I'll worry about that in a moment. Right now, I'm just going to say target, set camera position, cam x, cam y. Let's see what happens. Famous last words. Okay. Well, it's doing something like what I was wanted, but yeah, you're right. I do want minus equals with this. Whoop. I feel like, ooh, I know what I'm going to do. In render context, yeah, I'm going to have public void. No, it's AABB. I'm importing physics here? No. Okay, import physics.star. Sure. Well, I could just do physics.AABB, but why not? I know. It render area. There we go. And this is just going to construct the proper AABB for this. And where is it? Oh yeah, I'm going to copy what I have in game because I'm just lazy like that. And whatnot. So yeah, nothing fancy here. And hello, Nibby Banana. Welcome to the stream. Okay, render area. Something like this. Okay. So aspect equals get aspect. Sure. But this needs to be negative aspect, I believe, minus cam x, negative 1 minus cam y, aspect minus cam x, 1 minus cam y. This could be horribly wrong, but we're about to find out. And yeah, I should probably put this on a new line just because it's taking up a bit of space. Oh, and I'm not using it. That would be an issue, wouldn't it? Okay, you get render area. Target that get render area. Hey, this is going to do something at the very least. Oh, right, it's not called cam x and cam y here. It's camera x, im camera x, im camera, because remember where it is. Right. It's actually kind of nice, because now I can just do it on a new line like right here. And that works. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay. And I did it wrong, clearly. So I guess in this case will be plus. Sort of. It's not really doing what I expect, but it's doing something at least. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Hmm. Well, it is interesting, actually. Okay, you know what? Let's disable aspect correction for the time being. Let's just not even worry about it. I'm going to say aspect equals 1.0. Ignoring aspect correction, does this work? It looks like it, yes. Okay, we're moving the camera around. We're seeing a whole bunch of different things, so I think it is safe to say this is working. But aspect correction is wrong. Okay, maybe I need to do aspect correction after I adjust for camera position? Maybe? Hmm. Well, let's find out. Oh, in that case, I need to change this back to get aspect. Maybe I should, but it takes time and effort, and, well, I'm lazy. And okay, that does seem to be working. And you know, it makes sense now that I think about it, so yeah. Okay, with that, that's it. McGitsub, that's almost correct, except for the fact that, well, if I query range in like some corner way off screen, the sprite, all the stuff there is still way off screen, so I have to like move them back onto the screen. That's the only reason I'm doing the translation stuff. Otherwise, you're absolutely correct. So yeah, that's the only reason I'm doing translation and such. Let's just test camera a little bit more to make sure it really is working. So you go away, you come back. Uh, hmm. Oh, I don't need you anymore, so that's kind of nice. Let's try cam x plus equals, oh, not even, I created the speed variable, I'm not even using it. Good job. Let's say delta over 2, and let's say I'm going to cam y speed over 2. Let's do x over 2. Yeah, that sounds fun. And cam y is going to be minus, just to test some new arbitrary combination. Okay. And it looks like it's working just fine, really. Well, what do you know? So I think it's safe to say that cameras are working at this point. So good. So I'm gonna just really quickly go down, check that off my dot, draw dot, tag and habit. I always seem to want to draw a dot for some reason, but no. Okay, so not gonna do fonts or shaders just yet. So sampling or transparency sorting. Well, D3 Zombkila. Really, there's not that much difference between 2D or 3D programming. It's just that 2D doesn't deal with as many issues as 3D. But really, I'm doing a lot of things you do in a 3D engine. The get query range stuff, that's essentially frustum culling. All the translation stuff, that's what you do with the transformation pipeline with matrices and such. Aspect correction, that's what you do in a perspective projection matrix in a 3D engine. So, I mean, they're the same problems. It's just in 2D, you don't have to deal with quite as much. So, yeah. Anyways, oh, what should I do? Sampling or... Oh, yeah. And I'm going to change camera. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of camera again because now that I know it's working, I can't be bothered anymore. Let's change it back to this, just for the time being. Or back to test component 2. And yeah, that's good enough. Let's go. Okay, good. Is that side not working, or is it just nothing got generated over there? Okay, it's just nothing got generated over there. Okay, good. So, sampling or transparency sorting. What should I do first? I think I'm going to go ahead and do sampling, because I'm just getting a little bit tired of all of the pixelated nonsense. I mean, granted, linear filtering is not going to do much in this case, but it's going to do something, and that's what matters. So one moment. Much better. Anyways, am I in the... Oh yeah, this is my... For some reason I thought that was the update code for some reason, but no. Anyways, let's go create a new file. It's under source, rendering, and it's going to be sampler.java. Yeah. I'm going to implement samplers with abstract class. Oh, well, called sampler, not called nothing. I've been thinking quite a bit about how I'm going to do this because it's going to be a little bit interesting doing this in software. Sampling in hardware, well, the hardware has a hardware sampler, so it's, well, just use that. But software, it's a bit interesting. You have more options and such. So here's the way I think I'm going to do it, or at least I'm going to start out with. Who knows, things might change and whatnot, but this is what I'm going to start out with. I'm going to have some byte, MA, a byte, MB, byte, MG, a byte, R, ABGR. So this represents one color. Then we have two functions, public abstract void, called sample. Going to take some sort of bitmap texture and float source X, float source Y. So this will be X, Y, in, in normalized coordinates. So yeah. But as you notice, this is returning void. What this function is ultimately going to do is it's going to store the sampled colors in the ABGR thing. So I'm actually going to provide a function for that. Public, maybe we should make it protected, but I'm just going to make it public for now. Public void, color. No, I'm using software rendering. I'm just drawing pixel by pixel and uploading the image to the screen. Float A, float B, float G, float R. Ah, welcome to the stream, Cold Zero. Glad you could join. But yeah, set color going to be very basic. Just, yeah, monkey work at this point. But again, I don't know if I'm actually going to use this, but yeah. Oh, that's fine. Well, you made it to this stream, so welcome. Now here's the part I'm not entirely sure about. I have the sampler thing, but how should I get the components? I think I'm just going to have a getter for each one. I guess that makes sense, so why not? Public byte get A, turn MA, and pretty much same thing for everything else. A, B, G, R. In return, guess what? MA, MB, MG, MR. And I think this will be an abstract enough base framework for me to actually, do stuff. I could be wrong. I could have missed something, but I think this will work. So I'm just gonna go with it at this point. I'm gonna create a new file. Source rendering called nearest sampler.java. Oh, and I forgot package on that. Oh well, I'll worry about that in a moment. Public class nearest sampler, and oh, not a function. And this is Java, not C. Dang it. Did I? I'll worry about that in a second. First off, this is going to extend sampler. I think that's all I need for now, so I'm just going to leave that be. So first off, let's refresh nerd tree. So nerd tree, refresh for me. There we go. Rendering. Oh, first off, before I make the same mistake again, package something. Rendering. I'm not using an int or color class because that makes it really slow and painful to access individual components. So if I want to do something that involves individual components, like say alpha blending or lighting or just a whole slew of interesting effects, it just becomes really slow, really painful. So I figure just why bother? Just give per component access so you can just do that yourself. And that's why I'm doing it with bytes. Anyways, near sampler, extend sampler. Right, I'm doing something. Sampler. Where are you? There you are. Right, now you said I did floats. Ah, you're right. I don't want floats. I want bytes. Don't know. Oh yeah, I know I did floats. I was just thinking that. Oh yeah, everything is normalized between 0 and 1, but no, that's not true for that color. So yeah, let's not do that. And so thank you for pointing that out. Anyways, package rendering. Okay, I think that's all I need. I just need to implement the abstract void sample in nearest sampler, and I should be good to go. So it's going to sample from a texture at source X and source Y. This is basically going to be copy nearest in bitmap. There we go. Something there I couldn't think of it for some reason. But, whoop, no, don't delete it. Copy it. There we go. And sampler. Oh yeah, you can go away now. Wrong class. Nearest sampler. Yeah, unfortunately there is about 1 minute of lag between, well, it's not the comments that has lag, it's my video. There's like 1 minute of lag between when I say something when it shows up on the stream. I'm really not sure why. But, well, do what I can. Source X, source Y, dest source. Alright, I'm sampling stuff. So really what I want to do is not all that. Well, source index, yeah, I do want source index, so... Guess yeah, I'm doing texture.getWidth. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess I'm just doing set color, ABGR, so texture get component source index. I think I can do that. I think I have a method that does that. If not, I'll write it. It's not a huge deal, but well, as close as I can. It's good enough, really. +1, +2, +3. And I think that's all I need to do. I could be completely wrong about this. This is just, again, this is like experimental stuff. I've never actually, in case you haven't guessed, I've never written a sampler in software before, but, well, I'm trying it out. I'm seeing what happens. So yeah, I think this will do nearest sampling. Oh, I know the function itself will do nearest sampling. What I'm not sure about is whether it will still let me sample from the bitmap in an efficient way. So yeah, let's go ahead and change that. Where are you? Rendering, render context. Yeah, okay. Other than just transparency type, I'm going to take in a sampler. And I'm going to pass that into the... For just draw image internal for now. I'm not going to bother doing anything wacky with transparency stuff yet. I'll worry about that in a moment. No, I don't have triangle rasterization implemented right now. I have some code elsewhere that does that. It's just, well, I haven't found a need for it in this engine just yet. So I'm just not using it. Anyways, draw image internal. Yeah. Sampler. And rather than bitmap.copyNearest, I'm going to say sampler.sample. And it is sampling from bitmap at source X and source Y. And then really I just need to assign it, don't I? So yeah, just bitmap. Actually, that's interesting. I wonder if I can have a... Well, I could, obviously, but I'll worry about that in a moment. Right now, I just want to get things working. So I'll say bitmap set component. All right. Now, do I have destined? No, I don't. So I'll copy that code from elsewhere. Yeah, I'm just going to do dest index sort of manually incremented now because, well, it's not being automatically accounted for by the copy sample function anymore. Yeah, unfortunately, this does destroy a little bit of abstraction, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for the flexibility of having just a whole bunch of different samplers you can use and such. But then again, I could be wrong. That's sort of the point of this. We're going to find out. So yeah, I'm very glad I did some code with the dest index optimization earlier, because now I don't have to write it again. So yeah, this is a dest index and dest y incremented, and yeah, that should work. So component dest index sampler a, sure, plus something, plus 1, plus 2, and plus 3, because RGB and A. Wait, no, A, B, G, R, because that's color we're doing. Okay, good. Now I think this should still do proper. What's the word I'm looking for? Dangnabbit. I think this should still draw images properly. Well, we're going to find out, basically. Core game. Not game. Test component. I need a sampler for this, so I'm just going to have private sampler, m sampler, sure. The m sampler equals new nearest sampler for now, because that's the only one I have. And I'm going to pass that in to render context, and we're going to see, or the render function, we're going to see what happens. Lots and lots and lots and lots of errors. Okay. So, yeah, that's texture.getWidth and height. Yeah, okay. Okay, source yfloat not found. Ah, okay, that's fine. I'll just rename the parameters slightly. Xfloat and source yfloat, no big deal. And do you work? No. No, you do not. You do not even remotely work. Okay. Yeah, GVim works with anything you want it to. Oh, well, time for some live debugging, folks. Hope you're as excited and enthused as I am. Yay. Alright, that's the wrong function. Hopefully look at the right function, you know. That's useful. Set component ABGR looks just fine to me. I wonder, is it the sample itself, or is it writing that's out of bounds? Well, the sample is causing the error. Well, it's not. I'm not using OpenGL because there's no good reason to. It makes things more complicated, and in this case, it just doesn't do very much for me. I might switch to it eventually, I don't have a need for it right now. So I guess my dest index logic is wrong somehow? Eh? I'll just calculate it per pixel like I used to do. So there. Hope you're happy. Merry flippin' Christmas. Do you work? Dagnabbit! I hate it when I do that. Because then I have to reopen GVim. Just for some reason, I can be that makes GVim like take infinite focus over everything. It's really annoying. I know, only a programmer would really care about that, but Rendering sampler. No. Render context. And this is a function I'm looking at for. This is a function I'm testing out. This is what I'm trying to debug. So yeah, let's just see what happens now. No, you still crash. Is it something with get A, B, G, R that's not working? How can it... Alright, well at this point, that just doesn't make sense. How can you be crashing? Like really, how can you be crashing at this point? Have I done something subtle? Well, no, it's not the sampler that's doing it. I've already confirmed that, so... Yeah, how? What? Wait, what? Okay. Bitmap? No. Yes. Bitmap. Set components, int location, byte value. What's the issue? Okay, copy nearest. Well, it's saying dest in set component, yes, dest index, component source index. This should be doing the exact same thing. So what's going on here? If I must have subtly screwed something up, and I don't know what. Huh. This is interesting, and not in a good way. Okay. What if I only set the pixel at the dest index? Is it something with my incrementation that's going wrong? No, you're just being stupid. Huh. Okay. Well, then how is... It's dest.getWidth. This is the destination, so that's fine. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm using this exact same logic in the other images, and they're working just fine, so... Yeah, what the heck? Is it something... It must be something with the sampler that's screwing things up, because... Yeah, this just shouldn't... There's... What can I say? There's no good reason this should be happening. As far as I can see so far. Oh dear, I hope this doesn't turn into, like, what happened with the Ludum Dare bug, with the stack overflow and the recursion thing, because... I hate that bug. With a passion. What are you doing? No. No. 0x0ff? Sure. So now I'm just drawing nothing. No sampling, no anything. No sampler involvement at all. If the sampler caused anything, this shouldn't be an issue. But it is. Set components methods? Well, it wouldn't make sense because that's not where the error is coming from, but I'll check. No, that's definitely -1. So, yeah. Thanks for the suggestion, but I don't think that's the issue. But at this point, I'm not even using the sampler and it's crashing, so how is it going out of bounds? That's the real mystery. How are you going out of bounds? Okay, I got an idea. I'm going to copy the contents of draw image basic transparency internal. If there's anything at all, well, this should just work. How about that? Do you work? Not. Okay, good. You work. So I'll just modify this code then, because that isn't working for some bizarre, inexplicable reason. So, yeah, no more... Oh, I'm going to be doing source index float a little bit differently than this. So let's try changing that, make sure that actually works still, too. Oh, yeah, and you can move over a bit, because you're just taking up ridiculous amounts of space. So source X, yeah, you can go back to how you were. No source index float. No source index float step. Gonna have to undo that optimization. No, they really wouldn't. At least not for me. I don't use that. I haven't found a use for that yet in that. Also, Vim allows you to use breakpoints. I've never bothered figuring out how because again, I just don't find them that useful. Oh, by the way, this bug is frustrating me a little bit, in case you can't tell. So, sorry if that's coming through a bit. Anyways. Oh, I know why it wasn't working. Bitmap.setcom. Okay. Okay. You can go away now. All right, that makes sense. All right. All right. All right. I see why was going wrong. I understand the mystery magic now. You can go away. Well, no. You can go away. You can go away. Aha! No, not bitmap.setComponent, just setComponent. This is the target. The bitmap is the source. All right. I see what I was doing wrong now. Now this should work without issue. Agnabbit, not F10. I suppose I was asking for that, wasn't I? Oh well. Let's build, let's see what happens. Ah! So, it looks like my sampling nonsense is working. But at what cost? Okay, I know what I'm going to do. No, I don't actually. Hang on. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. Core, game. I'm doing some basic profiling. I want to make sure this isn't, the sampler system isn't destroying performance, because per pixel operations, that probably counts as performance critical. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so right now with sampler, it's taking, yeah, roughly 19 to 20 milliseconds per frame. Somewhere in that range. Okay, so now let's measure. What happens if I use the old version instead? No dest stepping, so comment you out. No sampling, so I'm going to comment you out. And yeah, no dest stepping. Just straight copy nearest. Because this, I found, was the fastest way to do it. At least that I tried. It's probably a fast way I haven't tried yet, but... Okay, and this is going a lot faster. Either that or there's just a lot less things on screen, which is possible, too. Now this is even faster. In fact, yeah, let me take a few samples. That was roughly 14.28. This is, yeah, roughly 14. Yeah, roughly 14. And this, roughly, okay, roughly 14.5. I'll say, it seems like to be the average. Well, I'm actually not using the new sampler yet. This is doing the same thing as copy nearest right now. So I don't have fancy sampling just yet. I'm just trying to make it so it has as little performance overhead as possible. This is roughly, I'll say roughly 14.2. Okay, so with copy nearest, it's roughly 14.28. That's my benchmark. That's my base. That's my point of reference. That's what I have to try and get as close to as possible. I'm not going to beat it. As simple as that. I'm just not going to beat it, but well, I can try. And this one, whoops. I should probably comment it out, or just so I know. So unsampled 14.28. roughly sampled be about something or other. We're going to find out. Okay, so this one, I'd say about 20 seems to be the average, so 20 on that one. And okay, I guess 18 on that one. So 20 and 18. I am using JFrame for creating windows. It's in the display class. So 20, 18, and you seem to be, okay, about 20 again. You are roughly, okay, roughly 20 again. So I guess the 18 is an outlier. I don't trust results with the white border because that might be interfering with the render results, so I'm just going to throw that sample out and try again. And you seem to be roughly, yeah, roughly. All right, so I'm just going to go with 20 for this. So 20.00 milliseconds. Because there's a 6 millisecond difference, and I've got to try and get this difference as low as I possibly can. Oh, sampler. Now, one idea is that set component might not be optimized into just, well, Java might not be optimizing this to a single function. So what I might do is just say, hang on, just create a function in bitmap that I'm going to call set pixel from sampler. Sure, something like that. Where are you? I'll put it under copy nearest, sure. I'll move this up so I can see it, and move you over so I can have more room. Okay. So public void no. Yep. Yes, void. Okay. Copy from sampler. Call bitmap, or not bitmap, sampler, target? No. Source, sure. And I'll just say, yeah, in components, sub, oh, sampler source int dest index, sure. Sampler dest index, source.get a. So this might improve performance, and it might do absolutely nothing. We're about to find out. But something to try. 2, 3, 4, okay. Plus 1, plus 2, and plus 3. So there. And I'm not using it, so this is going to do absolutely nothing. Okay, let's try this. Let's try actually using the copy from sampler function. That's probably going to help. Okay. Oh, right, I already have render context open. Copy from sampler. Now just pass in sampler and dest index. Let's find out. Oh, no right. Right. Build run. And it doesn't look like it's doing anything. Roughly 20 again. Roughly 20 again. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think there's much I can do about it. I think, I could be wrong, but I think the overhead's really just coming from, 1, using another object, and 2, having an abstract function being used. So Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot I can really do about this. But, you know, there's might be something I can do about it. Hmm. Well, there is something I can do about it. If the overhead is from using the abstract function, I can change it from just sampling an individual pixel to, like, well, a sample function that copies, the entire thing, the entire, yeah, it basically does this. And that should reduce overhead, but, actually, let's try that. I'm going to start by moving you here. I'm just going to see, dang nabbit, F10. Okay. And after that, I'm going to see what happened. X. Okay. Comment you out, duplicate you, and try that. Because, well, you never know. This will this isn't going to be totally accurate because it still has like overhead from, well, not all memory being used, but oh yeah. Okay, so this just destroys the memory overhead, so that's not very accurate. Well, it's not very accurate, is it? No. Okay. On the other hand, it does make things look a little bit interesting, but no, no. Hmm. Okay. What was an idea? Unfortunately, I don't know if there's a good way to really measure the overhead of this without measuring the overhead of both of them. Or, well, you know what I mean. Just don't think there's a good way to measure it. So, for the time being, I'm just going to leave it like this. And, or, what if hmm, oh no, I can't do that. Because, or can I? Hmm, what I'm thinking about doing is maybe having the sample function just write directly into the bitmap. That might do something, but it really is a long shot at this point. I don't think there's much I'm going to be able to do to improve performance. Quite frankly, I don't even know why bitmap.copyNearest performs as well as it does. So, yeah, trying to match this thing, and I don't even know why it performs as well as it does, is not going to be very easy. So I'm just going to leave it alone. But what I do want to do is want to compare it. So compare it from sampler, no. Looking for test component there. I'm changing transparency full. I want to compare the overhead because transparency full, whoops. Transparency full is not actually using anything yet. Well, it's not using the sampler's code yet, so this should still be. Oh god. So transparency full is less expensive. That does not bode very well. That does not bode very well at all. You know what? I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to just forego the idea of having programmable sampler objects and just have nearest sampler, linear sampler, and such. Or, well, just like constant, kind of like I'm doing for transparency, where you switch and you can either use linear sampling or nearest sampling. Because that way I can avoid all the overhead of the sampler objects and such, because, yeah, it's unacceptable to just have 6 milliseconds of overhead just for sampling objects themselves, not even including the fancy sampling, just the sampler object. So yeah, it was a nice idea, but unfortunately, no, I cannot do sampling objects. Oh well, let's go ahead and change this back. Sampler.sample, no, yeah, you go away. You can go away. You can go away. Oh dear, yeah, you can go away. And you can go away. Oh, no. You can go away. Unfortunately, this won't bode very well for code reuse either, but eh. Okay, so you... How do you know why you're here anymore? You can go away. Oh, right, that's the unoptimized version, but I don't care about that, so you can go away. Well, of course it's going to be optional. That's the whole idea. You don't have to... You can run faster if you want. You can make the trade-off between performance and, well, nicer features, but unfortunately, I have to do that in a slightly messy way, and I'm not completely happy about that. Well, I have to do it in a slightly messy way if I want to preserve the performance advantages, and yeah, like I said, I'm not very happy about that. Actually, with that, can I still keep the source index float stuff around? Huh, I wonder. But no. You're gonna have to go away. I can just keep that around. It's just comments. It's not gonna hurt anything. And you don't even touch, so I can just leave you alone. Also, that reminds me, there's something I want to experiment with while I'm doing this. There's something I've been meaning to test for a while. Whoop. Oh dear. Yeah, no more sampler objects, just go away. Yeah, just go away. No more samplers. No more samplers. And I'm gonna need something, right? Right, I'm gonna need you. No more sampler. Go away. Say no to samplers. And I've screwed something up. Ah, no more comma. You can go away. Do you still run? Right, good. Let's profile. Again. Huh. That's strange. Is this just a fast case? Oh yeah, it was. It's still about 20 milliseconds. For a second there, I was worried that the overhead of passing the sampler might be causing a problem, but no. Just the inherent randomness. So transparency full is about 20 milliseconds. How good is transparency basic? Okay, so that's an improvement, 18 milliseconds, but it might just be a fast case. Yeah, about 18.5 milliseconds. I'm trying to decide if it's actually worth supporting basic transparency because, well, they're so close to the performance of alpha. There's not much performance advantage over just going for full-blown alpha transparency at this point. So, oh, white border, don't trust it. Yeah, it's a little bit faster. Well, getters really shouldn't have much overhead. Most of the time, the Java compiler is smart enough to inline basic getters. Most of the time. So, and I've actually done some tests. I've tried making the variables protected and using them directly, and I haven't observed a significant increase in performance. So, yeah. All right, I'll keep basic transparency around for now. Suppose all that leaves, though, is just no more samplers, first off. Click static final int. Sampler nearest and sampler linear 1. There. Now I have to change draw image taken int sampler type, because I really don't have. Yeah, I'm still not very happy about having to do it this way, but well, I gotta do what I gotta do. Switch sampler type. No, not switch. Not switch. No, that's not right. That's not right. Case. No. Case sampler nearest. So these are all the functions that work with nearest sampling. I can just have that part as it is, don't need to change anything. Well, what would be the advantage of using enums? That's my big question. Anyways, case sampler linear break. So again, I'm going to have to switch on transparency type and have that default error message. I'm gonna use again. I'm gonna use that for right here. Default case. Yeah. You used an invalid sampler value. There. I really don't think parameter passing is the problem. I suppose that's true. But then again, all that really means is I get rid of the error message, so I don't know. I'll think about it. Right now I don't see much of an advantage, but who knows? Maybe I'll see something I don't right now. Anyways, none, basic, full. Draw. Alright. I'll start with this. Actually, wait. Before I even start with that, let's actually make sure it still works. That would be kind of important. So yeah, here, render context.sampler nearest. Okay, good. And it has a buttload of overhead for some odd reason. Huh. Surely the extra switch case doesn't do that much. No, it can't be the switch case. That wouldn't add 2 milliseconds of overhead. So clearly I've... Huh. Something fishy is going on here. I'm using full transparency. That's it. Okay. Yeah, I'm using transparency. So change transparency to none. And it has border. That can happen. Okay. All right, that works. Okay, there you go. So now linear. Right now it should just do nearest sampling, but well, actually, before I destroy the code base, I should probably push some things to GitHub. Yeah, first off, source, rendering, nearest, and yeah, just sampler, go away. You no longer work. Make sure that doesn't break the build for some reason. Aha, it does. See? See? Copy from sampler, just gonna comment you out. I'll bring chat back up in a moment. Right now, I just want to. What are you? Yeah. Go away. Go away. No longer needed. Build. Cool. Push you to GitHub. Push. Aspect and camera. Sure. There you go. It's pushed to GitHub. Anyways, let's actually do the sampling now. This is turning out to be a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. Oh well, maybe not more complicated, but taking longer at the very least. Okay, so draw image internal linear. So new function for this. Yeah. And draw image internal linear is going to be basically the same thing. The only difference is right here, rather than copy nearest, I'm going to use copy linear. But right now I just want to make sure I didn't break anything again. Oh, and right, that's not good. Okay, and I'm actually using it. That would be kind of silly. Okay, yeah, actually I'm using this as a linear sample. Okay. So I should be calling the function, just need to write linear sampling function. And because I'm lazy, I'm almost certainly going to copy this from elsewhere. Oh, right, wrong function. So other than just copy nearest, I'm going to have, well, copy linear. And I'm lazy, like I said, so I'm going to go to GitHub whenever Firefox loads. One of these days it'll load. There we go. And I'm going to just copy this directly out of my, I believe it's in 3D Engine CPP. It's in the shaders. Because I'm just a lazy programmer like that. Sampling, yeah. Sample shadow map linear. This is going to be the basis of what I'm doing. So, yeah, I'm just going to put you in comments right here. Okay, pixel pause, frac apart, start pixel, Bertel Merkschmeranama. Oh, right. Bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. I just had a brain freeze for a second there, but oh well, no big deal. That is going to be a slight issue. Sample shadow map and whatnot. So maybe I should return sampler. Yeah. Go ahead and restore you two. For the time being. Just because I might need you to, actually sampling stuff. I'm starting to wonder if it's really such a good idea to have all these fancy sampling modes. I mean, they're going to be really slow anyways, but well, I started now. Might as well keep going. Speaking of, I need a new function. Public static float lerp. Float A, float B, float amount. Yeah, I'm going to need linear interpolation function. B minus A, right? Times amount plus A. I believe that's linear interpolation, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm not going to use it right now, but I'm about to. Okay, copy linear. I think I'm just going to have to do this byte-wise. So byte Yeah, BL A equals this. Bah. Not quite, but eh. EGR 1 plus 2 plus 3. Ooh! I just realized something. I think I can get the bottom right pixel very easily, because this is just part plus vec2x stuff. You know, maybe it does, but, well, I wrote it, so I'm going to use it, I suppose. But yeah, I actually think I can get bottom right, because that should be the pixel right next to it, I think. So I can just do plus 3, yeah, plus 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, granted, this will wrap around a bit. It's on an edge, but I okay. Yeah, okay, fine. 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 I won't do that. It's a dirty trick in any case. I'm going to create multiple source indices. Source index BL, that's going to be this. That's what I'm going to use here. I'm also going to have int source index bottom right. Now, bottom right pixel plus texel size dot x. Okay. Now, texel size. That should, well, how about this? Float texel size x, that should just be 1.0 over float get width, I think. Pretty sure. It wouldn't be get width minus 1, would it? Huh. You know, come to think of it, I'm not entirely sure. Well, either way, in fact, I have the integer versions. Why am I doing complicated texel size nonsense? Yeah, well, what the nearest texel, just do source texel x plus 1 plus source. But then again, that still has the same problem, doesn't it? Yeah, if I sample the lowest pixel on y, that's going to cause a bit of a problem. Okay. Well, then what should I do here? I have to sample the nearest texels, but I can't go out of bounds. That's illegal. How about this? If source x is equal to get width minus 1, and source y is equal to get height minus 1, there. Because this is the only case it's going to just, oh, right. Well, okay, you know what? Let's just follow this algorithm verbatim. So I need the texel size. So float texel size x 1 over, pretty sure it is get width minus 1 actually, just because of the way I'm doing it. If not, we'll find out. Size y, height, oh, and hello Derek Lambert, welcome to the stream. Okay, texel size x, texel size y, check. Now what? Well, fract part. Do I need that? Yeah, I will need the fractal. Oh, wait. Okay. Float pixel pos x. That will equal source x float over pixel size x divided by it. Hang on a second. Pixel size? Now that should be 1 over it, shouldn't it? A texel is 1 pixel in a texture. Sorry, I never brought that up. I was just using it because I used it in this code, so yeah. So I'm pretty sure it should be times, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to... Or no... Or, I'm just going to follow the algorithm verbatim. If there's an issue, well, there's an issue. Plus 0.5, sure. Y source, Y float, texel size. Y plus 0.5, sure. Fract part. You need fract of pixel pos. Okay, float fract part x. Going to be int pixel pos x. Wait. Pixel pos x minus that, right? Or am I doing it backwards? No, that should be the fractional part. Fract part y. Good, and that will protect it from wrapping around. You're right, I don't think it should be a -1. I'll get rid of it for now. If there is an issue, I can try again later. Anyways, what I'm doing here, fract part y, start texel. Okay, pixel pos minus fract part times texel size. Okay, I can do that. So pos x equals, wait, start texel. Start texel x. Pixel pos x minus fract part x. And this is going to be really slow, but, well, what can you do? Y, fract part y. I mean, it's supposed to be a fancy graphics effect anyway, so why not? Minus fract part times texel size, okay. I guess that makes sense. Wait, no, I think I do need the -1. I'll leave it in there. If it does become an issue, it becomes an issue, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Bottom left texel. Right, so this is when I start sampling. So yeah, this is when I can go ahead and keep dest index around. You can be there at the very top. You can be the same no matter what. Source X and source Y, however, I can't say the same for. BL texel, BR texel. Okay. Yeah, I'm being a little careful with this, but oh well. Source X BL. Source Y BL, something like that. Sure. That's how I'm going to do it. So how did I do it here? Sample, shadow map at start texel and compare. Start texel Y. Again, I'll change to the -1 if there's an issue. Okay, I think that's all I need to do. Okay, so let's just do it for everything. Bottom right. Need to change everything to bottom right, really. Oh, yeah, boy. Bottom right A, bottom right R, or BGRA. Hmm. All right, just need to do this. Except that needs to be a slight difference, doesn't it? Yes. Plus vec2 plus texel size y. Okay. Okay. Our texel y plus texel size y. Wait, that's still relying on the... I don't know if I like this. Oh well, we'll find out. We'll find out. Oh, and I did the wrong one after all that. Oh, this turned out to be a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. It'll just be nice, quick. Ooh, let's add in linear sampling. But no. Had to be this big, painful thing, didn't it? Oh well, that's just typical. Plus texel size F. Y. There. Well, we're almost halfway done. Actually, I think we are past halfway done because we still need two more color thingies. But and the hard part, the basic. That's what I'm trying to say. Top left. Need to change that, but that's okay. I can do that easy enough. Source index, top left. Only I can change you all to TL without IntelliSense getting in the way, but no. Okay, top left. And this needs plus both of them, right? Oh no, just Y. Wait, that's what we did for this one. Did it backwards, that can happen. Okay, well I guess that's right. Just need to change it to size X. Alright, perfect, I think. Well, that only means one more left. Top right. And then we get to see all the insane errors I've introduced. Nonsense. Yeah, I think that's all I need to do. Just this and then no. IntelliSense, no. Doing little things like this would be so much easier, but oh well. Could be a lot worse. This needs texel size X plus texel size Y plus all that. So texel size. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. And finally, just mix them. Oh dear. You know what, everyone? I'm just not gonna bother with linear sampling. I'll leave the code here, comment it out, but no, this is just ridiculous. This is totally ridiculous. There's just no. Just no. No. No linear sampling, just no. Well, hey, at least I know now that linear sampling is a gigantic pain in the butt. Guess that's useful somehow. Looking for Shift Tab. There we go. All right, perfect. So, where are you? Draw image internal linear? Yeah, go away. Just go away. I don't want to see you. I just don't want to see you anymore. Just go away. I'll deal with linear sampling when I actually need it, but no, not now. Just not now. No. Do you still run? I've destroyed you forever. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with nearest sampling. Let's not worry about all that. And yeah, let's go down here. All right, now let's do the big giant no. No, no, no. Just no to sampling. And frankly, if sampling's that difficult, I might not do shaders either. Not because they're going to be that difficult, but really because of performance considerations. I mean, sampling introduced that much overhead. Shaders can at least pretty close to that much overhead, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to, you know, do that. So yeah. I think, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to put an X here. These two, nice features. I'll save those for whenever I happen to port this to OpenGL, because they're just doing it in software is just going to introduce performance issue after performance issue, and yeah, just no. You could use that, but I like to save those for debugging purposes, so that's why I'm not doing that. Anyways, so I guess next up on the list is transparency sorting, then fonts and text, and we're basically done with rendering. We might, I realize this is hard to believe, viewers, but we might finish with rendering in the engine today. Then again, it's a big might. I've been going for almost 2 hours, and that's usually when I cap out with this, but hey. Actually, before I forget, let me just /push. I'm just going to say no linear sampling. Don't know why terminal wrapped around weirdly like that, but it should do the same thing. Yeah, no linear sampling. Good, it's on GitHub. Now I'm going to double check that to make sure. Because I don't, for some reason, I don't always trust it. I mean, it's never failed me before, but I don't know, I like making sure. No linear sampling. Okay, good. So, transparency sorting. Oh dear. I'm slightly scared from trying to do linear sampling, but well, let's get started. You might as well. All right. So first off, I'm going to reorganize very slightly, and by very slightly, I mean I'm introducing a new package, the components package. It's going to have test component 2. Yeah, sure, I can have entity component 2. Why not? I don't have to do any nonsense importing every single. Well, I don't know. Is entity component part of the core, or is it a component? I'm going to say it's part of the core, so I'm just going to leave you there. All right. Components. Test component 2 package. Components. Yeah, components. For a second I thought it screwed it up, but no. And, oh yeah, that's all I need to do, so good. What do you mean a render pass system? Well, it's going to take you a minute to answer that, but I've never heard of something called a render pass system. Anyway, I'm doing something. Right. Let's make sure this builds. I'm going to need to import. In here, I'm going to need to import components.star, but still. Okay. Import core. That's fine. Import the core, doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. I need to import core, but that's fine. Okay, well, you know, it's at least nice to know that this isn't horribly failing me anymore. Here, you know what? I'm gonna slightly relax a bit. I'm gonna go to test component 2. Well, Zandane, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be using sorting to do it. Anyways, test component. Oh, test component, excuse me. Wrong glass. Change you to full transparency. I'm gonna, whoops. Yeah. And change display, not display. Game. Hello, Zangent. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm not going to use the bricks thing. That just shows off that nearest sampling is terrible. And we already know that, so there's no issue there. Yeah. But dagnabbit! I hate it when I hit F10 like that. Huh. Name. Yeah, sure. No. Game. I just want to relax a moment and watch the square drift across the screen additively blendedly. Just because, my word, that sampling stuff was painful. I mean, it could be done. It's just, well, I really don't feel like it. So there you go. Not blended additively, but you know what I mean. Alpha blended. There we go. Anyways, transparency sorting, or really layer sorting. I'm going to create a new component for this. I'm going to create E. This is going to be the first real component. So watch out, people. I'm doing serious components now. Source, components, sprite component.java. Oh. A slightly wrong file, but that's okay. Well, Simon, I'm not making a game yet. I'm just making the game engine that's going to be able to power it. So since I don't know what game I'm going to have to make for Ludum Dare, I'm really just trying to make this as generic as I possibly can so that when I do make a game, I should be able to do whatever I want with no problem. That's my goal with this. Okay, sprite component extends entity component. Yeah, I know. Fortunately, the engine's almost done. I think, yeah, like in the next, probably by livestream 5, we should have at least the first version of the engine completely working. Maybe even livestream 4. Anyways, I'm doing something. Import package. No. Getting things mixed up. Package components. Import core.star. Import rendering.star. I won't need that, won't I? Okay, never mind. So anyways. First sprite. How I'm going to support a sprite? No. How am I going to support a sprite in the engine? Well, it's going to need some bitmap. Sure. Image. Okay, so we have some image to draw for the sprite. We need a constructor for this. Public component. Component. Takes in an image, so app image. Next Ludum Dare, next real one is in December. So yeah, it's a while. But I'm starting early, so I'm going to be fully prepared by the time it's there. Anyways, I really want to use stuff from my other components because test component does a lot of what I want to do. Yeah, it does most of what I want to do. So in fact, I'm going to copy this. I'm just gonna. Yeah, just most of what I want to do. So why should I, you know, do other stuff? This works just fine. Okay. So I got a sprite. Now what else am I gonna need other than the sprite? Well, it's got to have some way of being transparent. Or I need some transparency mode, so I'm going to have int transparency type. So you can specify what type of transparency you want. So private int type. Sure. Equals transparency type. Excellent. So now we're no longer stuck using whatever transparency type we hardcode here. We can use whatever type we want, which is great. And finally, I'm going to need rendering layers and such so that I can decide what layer should be rendered first. And because I'm a cheeky programmer like that, I'm going to use floating point values for my rendering layers. So you can have floating point layers. So yeah, float layer in render layer. Sure. Oh, absolutely. What I'm planning to do actually is just set aside certain days where I'll do sort of my own personal mini Ludum Dare in 24 hours, just to really test out the engine, make sure it's actually prepared, because ideally I should have at least 24 hours left to work on art and other assets. That's my plan, so I think spending 24 hours on just getting the game working is reasonable. That's my plan. Anyways, render layer. So really the real question now is, how am I going to... Ooh! I just got... You know what? I think I could be wrong. Oh wait, no, that won't work, will it? Hang on. I think I might be able to do this with the quad tree. The quad tree comes to save the day yet again. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change... What I'm thinking of doing is making query range internal public. Well, I'm going to change the name, of course, because it's no longer internal, but yeah, basically just making this public so you can pass in the set you want as a result. Why? Because you can pass in a tree set, which is roughly as fast as a hash set, but what it does is it will automatically sort everything. So just by querying the range, it would automatically sort everything by the render layer, which I think is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I don't know that that's actually going to work, but oh my word, I think it will work. Benny is excited. I don't know why I'm referring to myself. You know I'm excited because I'm referring to myself in third person. I'm going to change entity. Private float im render layer. Yes, I'm making render layer now a fundamental part of the entity. This way I can use it to sort the entities, and this is going to be amazing. But anyways, public float. Wait, not float. Public void. Need to set render layer. Float layer. Im render layer. Layer. All the monkey work and such, and I'm thirsty. One moment. Thank you for your patience, viewers. Now, how much? Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy my code from somewhere else. Because, well, I'm just a cheeky programmer like that. I like copying my code from all over the place. So, render layer. Right. Entity component? No. Test component? No. Sprite component. There we go. Okay. Rather than storing render layer here, no need for that. What I'm going to do... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I will keep render layer like this. I've got an idea. I know how to make this work. I think. What I'm going to do is okay, because here's the problem. Right now, the component is created before it has an entity, so I can't just set it in the constructor. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function in entity component. It's going to have just a default implementation of nothing, but it's going to be public void on add. Yeah, and it's just going to do nothing by default. So this you can. So this will be called every time you add a new component, or well, every time the component gets an entity. What am I drinking? Well, I have two things. I have a glass of water, and I have a glass of Coca-Cola, which I'm about to finish right now. And it is gone. Anyways, so the onAdd function. Sprite component. Yes, sprite component is definitely overriding this. Okay. That's okay, Trillion Amaze. We're about to do something absolutely amazing, so you're just in time. You missed all the boring stuff of me fiddling around with samplers and failing, so you arrived just in time for the exciting stuff. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I appear to have drank a little bit too much soft drink. My stomach's not happy, but that's okay. onAdd. Get entity. Set render layer. A render layer. There. No. This way. Something. Oh, yeah, right. This way, the entity has the render layer. So that way, I can sort the entity by render layer. Okay. All I need to do now is create the compare function, so that way I can sort it. So I'm going to copy this from elsewhere, like I said, because I am just a cheeky programmer like that. Where are you, software renderer? Ha! And I'm going to just, like I said, flat out copy it from here. Now, what I believe, and Mesh I believe was using it, so I'm going to start there. I believe it was face order node that it sorted. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to copy the code from here because I'm a lazy programmer. Constructor name is incorrect. Did I misspell? No, I just forgot to copy. Thank you for pointing that out. Well. Right, I'm doing something. Dagnabbit. Alright, implements comparable. Do I need to import that? No! Wonderful. Of entity, yeah. I can compare entities with this. And oh dear, I appear to have made my window just slightly too large. It's covering up part of your text. There we go, much better. Okay. Now, compared to, I'm lazy, so yeah, let's copy this. I'm also going to have to override equals, won't I? I don't know, actually. We're going to find out. Ooh! And you know, this is the perfect thing to copy from. You know why? This was sorting by one floating point value. I'm sorting from by one floating point value. So I can just use it correctly. Ha ha ha! This is amazing. This equals R. Oh, that's not face order node. It's entity R. Z center, R.Z center, don't care. I actually only care about render layer. Yeah, that's less than epsilon. Yeah, good enough. So there is going to be some Z fighting eventually, but I wouldn't worry about it. If Z center is less than Z center, return after, otherwise return before. It's roughly. Yeah, you know, epsilon's probably fine. Probably want this to be as close to 0 as possible, but I think this actually is smaller. I think this is less than floating point precision can give you. Single precision floating point can give you, so I don't think there's an issue. Anyways, in render layer, place Z center. That would be an epsilon value, so if the floating point values are like really close and they're only not equal because there's some floating point math error somewhere, it should be equal, but in this case there really should not be a floating point math error, but I'm just leaving it there because the code's already there. So yeah. And I'm using GVim in case no one's told you by the time you hear my voice. Anyways, compare to is overridden. So now, for that, can I do whatever nonsense stuff? Mesh. Yeah, this is using face order nodes, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so how is it sorting it? Actually, I think I think I had a custom sorting class for this, didn't I? I mean, not that it particularly matters in this case. I'm just, well, I'm using that to sort it. Right. Here's what I'm going to do, quantry. Right now, I'm going to change. Yeah, I'm going to change query range. So it takes an AABB and a set of entities for the result. And yeah, I can just, really at this point, I could just change. Well, first off, I need to change get all to take in a set of entities for the result. And yeah, other than that, I think I can just change query range internal to be query range, and it should work. ABB and result. Query range, yeah, it's okay. Benny is feeling particularly evil today. Again, you can tell that because I'm referring to myself in third person for no apparent reason. New ABB, new hash set of entity. And, oh, there. Same thing here. So right now this is nothing, absolutely nothing to do with, well, render layer stuff. So right now I should be able to do something. Where are you? Target a render area, new hash set. Okay, we're about to see the moment of truth. It fails. Query range is private. Oh, right, I forgot to change access. All right. Where is Mr. Private? There you are. You're public now. Welcome to the team. Nodes Y, query range internal. It's, well, now your query range. You know, I really don't need to return that, but oh well. So now you still work. That's the big thing here. Do you still work? Good. I have not destroyed anything with this. Yet. Now for the evil part. Well, I suppose it's not really evil, but close enough. Let me have my fantasy, dagnabbit. Okay, going for the 20,000. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to use test component. I'm going to use sprite component. Yeah, test, and it's going to have that of render context dot transparency full, and render layer of float I. There. That there. That is my master plan. And I'm still not doing the transparency sorting, so this should do basically nothing right now, but, well, we'll see. Actually, that's a good point. Now that I think about it, I wonder, does that be sorting the... I wonder, like, which way makes it closer or further away. So I put, like, something like 0.00f? That'd be... We'll start at 20 float, or 20,000, 1.0f. There. And we'll see what happens from there. Again, I'm not doing the transparency sorting yet, because I'm still using a hash set. Oh dear. Oh, right. Okay. Test component 2, not going to extend test component anymore. I'm going to change this a bit. It's going to extend entity component. Find it. Not going to take anything into constructor. It's just going to move things around, basically. Oh, yeah, that's all it's going to do. It's just going to move it around. Okay. And entity component, game. All right. Yeah, sure. Now I can put this on a new line because that's going to look very obnoxious otherwise. Test 3, add component. It's almost the moment of truth. I'm excited. Do test component 2. And it gives me an error. Override method render. You know what? I made these abstract before. Some components really don't need to override them, so yeah, just default implementation of nothing. Absolutely nothing. There we go. So now is something moving along. There is no transparency sorting at all right now. But, but, if I go to, where are you? Game. All I should have to do, change it to a tree set, because now everything's comparable and therefore sortable, and everything should just work. Everything should just be in order, and it should be beautiful. Oh, actually, before I do that, render layer starts off equal to 0. That way I have some default, some sane default. And it fails. Okay. Clearly, something's not quite working right. So let's figure out what's going on. Okay, based on tree map. Okay, so I do need to override equals for this. Okay, that's fine, I can do that. Whoop. Override public Boolean equals. It takes in some, leaves some object R. Okay, it just needs to be consistent with this check, really. I believe that Java will, well, it's not going to return anything, but yeah, okay, good. I believe I had to change this to entity. It'll say warning not overriding anything or something. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, equals. Easy enough. First off, make sure if R is an instance of entity and what this? If not R instance of entity, then just start by returning false. There. Otherwise, this same sort of check. In fact, I'm going to be lazy and copy. Return true. Otherwise, return false. There we go. Okay. That's fine. I can say object other. Say, here I can just say entity R equals entity other. There we go. And that should work. You work. No. Oh boy. Hmm. Well. Okay. Now that I read more about this, I'm not sure this will actually end up working. Yeah, okay. Okay. Fine, actually. I don't need to use tree set. There's alternatives. I'll be honest, I'm slightly disappointed that didn't end up working. Just a little. But, oh well. I can use good old-fashioned hash set. Hasn't failed me so far. Don't see why it would fail me now. Although I really wish that worked. Hang on. Is it because this somehow is not working? Float I? Hmm? Hmm. No. It seems like there should be some way for it to work. Wait, comparator? Okay, how about this? Java preset example. There we go. Because there's no good reason this shouldn't work. Tree set of integer. Yeah, okay. Not what I'm looking for. Sure, how about this? Here we go. Okay. No. Whoops, sorry about that. Not really, why isn't tree set working? This is gonna bother me now. I realize it's like totally unnecessary to do transparency sorting with this, but it bothers me now that it's not working. And like, what's going on? It's like getting one object and then, eh. Well, my goal is to make whatever game comes to me when they release the Ludum Dare theme. I don't know what I'm going to create yet. That's part of the challenge of Ludum Dare. If you knew what you're going to create ahead of time, what's the challenge? Tree set. Something there has to be something I can do to get this working. If not, I'll do something else. But hang on, entity. Okay, let's get rid of the epsilon. Maybe that's somehow screwing something up. Or, excuse me. Sure. Or this is equal. Excuse me, sorry about that. 0. I don't really have much of a live stream schedule yet, really. So sometimes we don't know yet. Compared to if this equals R. You know what? No, I'm only going to return equal if this is equal to R. I think that's what's screwing things up. Yeah, look at that. Now, granted, it's far from perfect right now. Because for some reason, my render layers aren't quite as they should, but... Oh, I know why. I'm never calling the on... That explains. I never call the onAdd function. Okay. Component.onAdd. There we go. Now, perfect consistency, and apparently it is like lower is higher. So yeah, it's moving below everything right now. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I understand why things weren't working correctly. No equal stuff. Override, goodbye. I knew there was some way. I know I was just missing something silly, but so let's change it. Not 20,000 0.1, but negative 1.0 F. Sure. Now it should be above everything. Yeah, look at that. Now it's on top of everything. So look at that, everyone. We have proper layer support. Everything's on its own layer. And they're floating point even. So yeah, you can just use whatever sort of different layers and nonsense you want. It just works. It's brilliant. This is incredible. Forgive me, I'm just a little bit excited, in case you can't tell. Well, that solves the layering issue. Honestly, yeah, there's really only one thing I have left to do now. I've done everything except for fonts and pushing this to GitHub. Oh my word, I better push this to GitHub. Push. Right. Oh, right. Silly. I wonder why the terminal does that. Does anyone know why the terminal does that, where just word rep totally fails for no apparent reason? I've always wondered about that. But anyway, push transparency sorting? No. Yes, no. Transparency / layer sorting. much better. Okay, and just make sure it's on GitHub, because otherwise it's going to bother me. Dare engine updated 14 seconds ago. Transparency/layer sorting is beautifully working. So I can go ahead and check you off if I can avoid drawing a dot by accident. Haha! Yeah, so just have fonts and text left. Man, I'm really just... rendering's basically done. Goal 0, I don't really know yet, but I want to do something. You know, I just find writing game code fun, and I find writing and playing games fun, so my real goal is just to do this and have fun with it. That's my ultimate goal. And so far, I'm succeeding, so I'm pretty happy, to say the least. Anyways, well, you know what, everyone? All we have left now, as you can see on our rendering to-do list, are fonts. And although I'm at my 2-hour, I actually passed my 2-hour limit now, but I still really just want to finish off the rendering of the game image, because we're so close now. We're so close. Like, why would we not? Just why? Why would we not finish off rendering now? But you know what? I do need a little bit of a break. My voice is getting a little tired. My brain's getting a little... well, it's not what it could be. So you know what? I'm going to take a break for an hour, maybe 2. And then I am going to come back, and I'm going to do another shorter live stream where I just do fonts. At least that's the plan. Maybe something will come up and I can't do it. But, yeah. So that's my plan. I'm going to stop the stream now, but I will be back in maybe an hour or 2, and then we'll see if we can start adding fonts to this thing. And then we will be done with rendering. I'm excited about this. But yeah. So, thank you. Hope you enjoyed, everyone. And wait a minute. Minor optimizations? I think everything's generally pretty well optimized. In general, whatever minor optimizations would I do? I've been generally optimizing as I go. We're using quad trees and such for sorting everything, and very quickly using tree set, so we don't have to. We almost don't have to do transparency sorting. Just gathering everything on screen automatically sorts it, which is amazing. And so yeah, I don't know what other optimizations I can really do, unless you mean convert rendering to OpenGL, which okay, yeah, that will be faster, but still. So let me know. But anyways, I'll see you in about an hour or 2. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. See ya, everyone.